Hi, you might have seen the thumbnail or the title to this, van life sucks for me right now. There's a lot to get into and I'm going to break it up into sections. It will be a long video unless YouTube makes me cut it up into different things. If you can hear in the background at the moment, there's a lot of activity. We've got buildings being pulled down and that's another reason why I bought the van. So let's start with December 2025, the 1st of December. I purchased a van from a company in Brisbane. The cost of the van was $60,000 plus on roads. I sold my car, got $8,000 for it, and because I live in an apartment, I have to get a permit so I can park it on the street without getting fined. Now, my wife and I discussed about buying a van and travelling around. We've seen a few videos and we decided that travelling overseas, regardless of what the situation was costly. $18,000, $20,000, and we thought spending $60,000 on a van that we could live in and go around Australia in was a good investment. It cost us about a third of my savings. So it was a fairly significant amount of money. So let's get into the nitty-gritty of the cost. So things I didn't know about that I should have known was that the class of the vehicle is in Queensland, it's a class 5. It's a 3-seater Renault 2022 model, had 28,000 kilometres on it, so it was basically just run in. Everything was there. The compliance of the requirements in Queensland now requires batteries to be secured, electricians to have signed off on all the electrical work. So that was all done for me. I didn't have to worry about getting those certificates going to a dealer. Now what shocked me was that they gave me 6 months of insurance, which is third party, and on the road costs for the main roads. And that was $2,200 for 6 months. I'm not sure if it will come down. I will check when we get the next renewal notice, and then I'll let you know. So that was a bit of a shock to hear like $4,400 a year just to register the vehicle as a third party and insurance. Now I became a pensioner, and so having that, I went back to main roads and they actually gave me an $80 discount. So it's not a lot, but it's something. Let's start with RACQ. Travelling Australia, it's a big country. I wanted to be able to have roadside assistance. That cost me $515 through RACQ. What that allows me is that if I'm 3,000 kilometres from a service area that's approved by RACQ, they will pick it up or send somebody out to repair the vehicle. And obviously we would have to go with it because of the nature. It's our home, so we would have to, or be put up in a motel. That's another cost that you would have to have in the back of your mind, whether you stayed in the caravan park or whatever, depending on the location you're in. So that was $515. Then there was the other cost, which was the actual insurance itself. We insured it for $60,000. That $60,000 was the price that they believed that, that's what we should insure it for. And that cost me $1,250 for the year. So on top of the $2,200 plus the $1,250 plus the $515, it racks up a lot. And it works out that my van sitting outside not being used works out about $15 a day while it's sitting idle. Let's talk about the other costs. So when we got the van, it had basically just a doona and a couple of pillows. So it didn't have any linen, things we had to buy. It didn't have any towels. It didn't have any tools. It had no components for me to, or drawers for me to store tools. So I ended up buying two tradie doors. I installed one. Because we moved from a house to an apartment, we had to downsize because we only have a small cage where we can, store things. And so you need a drill, you need you know, socket set, screwdriver set, puncture kit, air compressor, battery charger. You need a bunch of things. I mean, there's so many things. I'm going to do a video on actually what we bought. And our initial purchases tallied around about $1,300. A ladder. Why do you need a ladder? Because this thing's high. So we had to get a collapsible ladder. $500 or so on an immobiliser. Reached out to a company in Queensland. They sent me one to try out. I installed it and I'm happy as anything with it. It does exactly what it's supposed to do, and it's analog, so it's not subscription based. It's, you know, it's don't have to have an app with it. None of those things, and it's very hard to defeat this particular immobiliser, and we'll discuss that at another time. Our first trip, it was day before Christmas Eve. We went to my son's place. I'd installed the things that we needed. Again, things that we needed were a water purifier, something we could purify water with. We had to buy stuff for cutlery, pots and pans, all these type of things, sheets, towels. We bought a poncho type, terry toweling type poncho things that we could wear when we go to the showers, if we had showers and we stopped at a caravan park. We bought Crocs so that we could walk around. We bought snake guards for our ankles and things if we wanted to go in the bush. So there was a lot of things. A fan, we bought a fan. Our air conditioning unit was broken. We didn't know that until we got home, and that's another video because I got a free one out of that, and I'll tell you how I did that. So these costs and the trip were, you know, inclusive in this video because they are attached to each other. So our plan was to leave from Walloon in Ipswich and travel north up to Winton and then back through Roma and then down to Tenterfield and then back to the Gold Coast. But during that stay over on Christmas morning, we heard that there was a lot of rain in those areas and we didn't want to get caught on the other side and not be able to get out. And we didn't bring a lot of food. We did put a lot of water and things in our fridge, which we have, but we decided to go the other way around, down through into Tenterfield and then come back up. If it was raining or anything like that, at least we could go out the same way and get back to the Gold Coast and not get flooded in anywhere. So that was the plan. So we left and we decided to use wiki camps. So I looked around for our first destination because we planned to go a different direction. So I needed to find the direction that we needed to stop first. So we planned for about 250 k's and we found a place, had a nice big pond. I like metal detecting, and so I thought, well, there'll be people swimming there. I might be able to find an old, you know, necklace or some old coins. And so we planned to go that way. When we clicked on get directions, it worked perfectly. We got on the road, and then we thought, oh, maybe we should video this. So my wife got out a phone, she started videoing, talking to me, and by the time we got to our first rest stop, the video was terrible, shaking up and down. You couldn't hear anyone speaking because the noise in the van is really annoying. The other annoying things that we found on our first drive was people driving behind us. We had constantly had to pull over and let people go past. One, because we didn't know where we were going, and two, because they are right up your clacker. I mean, it doesn't matter, it could be a push bike, they want to get around you. So that's annoying, and that's something you're going to have to deal with if you do Vanlife for sure. So we pulled into this rest area, let 5 cars go because we were on a very skinny, windy road, and we were losing internet. And so we pulled into this Memorial Park. Now, down the bottom of this dirt road, there was probably 3 campsites with caravans, maybe another van or so. We didn't want a chance driving down and getting caught in the rain because we would never get back up. And again, that's another reason we would have to call RACQ to get a tow truck to tow us out of this thing. It was just too steep for the van and the weight for me to think that we could get back up. So we decided to go on, and it was about 10 to 15 k's later, the GPS said your destination is on your left. And when we looked, there was a little gravel patch just up ahead. It was only about 15 metres long, and then it dropped off to a cliff. So I'm thinking maybe it's on the other side of the creek. So we kept driving. The annoying part was we got more cars. We had the GPS saying to us, turn around, do a U-turn here. And we ended up driving another 20 k's until we found a T intersection, and we found a town called Clifton. So we went into town, and there was a free campsite there behind the pub. We pulled in behind there, but it's Christmas Day. There was nobody there. So what happened then was we went to the park, and we had lunch, and we met another couple from the Gold Coast, which was crazy. We were talking about our vans and how we were proud of what we bought, but this other van was $135,000, had more bells and whistles, but it was smaller, couldn't stand up in it, but it was well decked out. I really loved the idea of it. So anyway, I was saying that I had trouble with, I heard things rattling. He said, well, you better check it out. And what I found was where I'd actually screwed down the tradie drawer had shifted. So I got underneath there with some bungee cords, screwdriver, tech screws, and an electric drill, and I started virtually redoing it again and screwing it all down. And as I was leaving to get out from underneath the bed, I broke a rib. Well, that was really bad. I could sit and drive, but I couldn't lay down. So we decided to leave Clifton, and we went to Allora, and I thought there might be a medical centre there. So we went over there, we found the free car park, well, it is a car park, and it's a free camping site. And so we went in there, we walked into town, everything was closed, you know. So my wife, we did, another thing we bought, we ended up buying 2 first aid kits, one for snake bite and one for normal. So we strapped my rib up, and we went back, and I did take a small video, and so what I did was I just panned the area, and you probably see that as I'm talking now. So about 4:30, we've been sitting outside discussing what we were going to do. The mozzies attacked. We bought screens from Bunnings, 2 lots, $40. Absolutely useless. Don't even buy them. They're terrible. The Velcro doesn't stick to the actual van because it's, you know, new and shiny and all that sort of stuff. But what's worse is when you try to peel it off, everything comes off with it. We locked ourselves in the van, no air conditioning, and the fan I got, it didn't work. So we're stuck in this thing, it's 100 degrees, and we're trying to work out what we're going to do. But outside it started getting colder, so I opened the vent and drew the air in, which cooled the van down, which was great. So watched the video, and then I said, I've just got to go to bed. Now I get into the bed, I can't move. I'm too tall to sleep across the van. I'd laid in it beforehand, and I thought I could pull my knees up a little bit, but after an hour I was starting to get cramps, and every time I'd turn, because of my chest and my ribs, I couldn't breathe. So I ended up getting out, taking the deck chairs, which are again $80 each, put one of those down, and I tried to sleep in the small space that we've got between the cabin of the van and also underneath the bed. That worked for a few hours. I did get some sleep, but in the end I was up most of the night in pain. So the next morning we decided we'd go home. And we went back to my son's place, set off his alarm, he called through, turned it all off, and we came home. Now a 6-day trip turned into like less than 24 hours, and unless you really understand these things can happen to you, you know, as I said, van life sucks for me right now. So we watched a few videos, and we realised that with the pension and with my wife going onto a pension, it's going to be very difficult to fund to do these trips. You know, not so much the weekend stuff, but definitely if you wanted to go away for 12 months, what would you do with your your house or your unit, would you rent it out, would it affect your pension, all those sort of things. So as I said, watch a few videos, and a lot of the people who are doing the van life and this stealth caravanning, what a joke, but anyway, they're asking for people for, one is called Buy Me a Coffee. So I actually registered for that. Now what Buy Me a Coffee is that it's like a donation site. Rather than saying, go to my Patreon and pay $5 a month to help fund us to go around Australia. It's content related. So if you're happy with the content that I provide and you want to buy me a coffee, there's a website that you can go to retiredtovanlife and then / buy me a coffee. There'll be a link in the description. The other side, there was one more that we signed up. Well, I actually signed up for Anaconda. I haven't heard back from them. Why did I do that one? Because Anaconda, one of the things we wanted to buy is like an EPIRB, a distress beacon, because we can't afford satellite. We can't afford a satellite phone, and if we're out of range and we need some help, then at least that's something I can turn on and have somebody come and help us. It's very easy. Let me explain it to you this way. I was working with Queensland Rail and we were doing the bridge inspections, and we were driving. I hadn't been out through this district before, and we were driving along, and I just happened to look to my right and I saw this sign on this, just the post where the gate was and the cattle grid, and it said main house 50 kilometres this way. So maybe I'd turn onto a road and I'm driving 50 kilometres or 30 kilometres off the main track. Nobody knows you're there. You only got to take one wrong turn in Australia and you could be anywhere. So having this EPIRB / personal device to alert the government authorities that you need assistance was really, really important. And so the next thing that happened to me while I was home was I started a blog, and I started writing stuff for pensioners and seniors like myself. And the thing I wanted to develop was a website / app. So you can go to the website retiredtovanlife / vanlife savings spots, and what that is where you can actually go in and put the GPS, put the postcode in. You can name it what you want. It'll ask you for fields that you must fill in. Does it have Wi-Fi? Yes or no. It doesn't matter what you put in, but fill in all the information it asks for. I don't think you have to do notes, but you want to go to a destination, put those notes in. Now, I've added AI to it. Now what that means is there's a green bar, and that green bar takes you to ChatGPT. Now there's you copy below the Ask AI green bar, copy everything there, and just put in where you are, your location, and or where you want to go. Depending on, if you don't know your location, just ask for the next town over or where you want to go to. Click on Ask AI, put that into the chat box, and that will give you the exact GPS coordinates for where you need to go. Now there's a disclaimer. ChatGPT may get it right 99% of the time, but at least it will get you somewhere close to that area. So you need a toilet, you need a hospital, you need something like those type of things. This is confined to you. So you copy that in, click at the very bottom, it'll say add spot. You click on that, and then you can go back to the map, tap on the top of the map, and it will open and put a pin on that area. Then you go and open that pin up and it'll say get directions. It will go to Google Maps, click get directions, it will find your location and send you to that spot. Now, because it's closed, only you have that information. It's not circulated through a community. The reason I didn't do it that way, I didn't want people putting false information and sending people on, a trip that they didn't need to go on and find, again, being lost. So at the bottom also it says you can, there's a tool section. You can actually download that to a text file. So what that means is you click on it, everything that you've saved for your trip will come out with GPS coordinates, the name of the area that you're in, all that, and you can either take a photo of that and send it to your friends, to your family, and say this is where we're travelling to, and you can put as many locations on that as you want. So if you're going away for 10 days, you could pick 10 days worth of locations, put them all in, and just get directions from there. It's a simple app. Other reason why I wanted to build it and expand on it and ask for people to help buy us a coffee or whatever, is that will fund me to put one more feature in. I want to be able to put in bulk GPS coordinates, so that you can probably copy and paste 10 or 20 GPS locations, put them in, and then click add the spots, and then you'll have your whole trip planned. You won't have to worry about it. It's all planned, ready to go before you even leave. And so that's the idea of van life saving spots. But if you find this video helpful, please like and share and subscribe, and we'll move on from there, and we'll see whether we break this into several videos or we can get it all in one hit. Please ask questions in the comments. Okay, I'll try to answer as many as I possibly can. Am I doing this the right way? Have you had similar experiences? Would you buy, well, here's a question answered straight away. Would I buy a van knowing what I know now? No, I wouldn't. And why not? Because, as I said, I feel everything's overwhelming. It's very frustrating that I use so much money of our money where I could have hired a van for a few weeks and see if I liked it. Again, when you hire something, it's not what you will end up buying. This is the thing. I didn't know that I was going to be too tall to sleep across this thing. There was another $600 I had to extend the base so I could sleep from the rear doors to the front of the cabin. So we had to lengthen the bed length so that I could sleep. Will it work out? I don't know. I had to get another air conditioner, and we'll talk about that another time. But please ask your questions. I'll answer as many as I can. And what questions and answers do you want me to in the future? But look, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next one.